I gotta see this Crimson Desert. Let's see the Crimson Desert review so far. Impressions. Is it this one? Is it actually this one? This one specifically that gave it a 6 out of 10? Or which one is it? Let me see. Hold up. Maybe it's on their webpage. Let me see. IGN. Crimson. Let me see. Crimson Desert review. Can I see this real quick? Let me go down real quick. Oh my god, no way, dude. So it is that video, right? Yeah, it is that. Yeah, it is that video.
In desert.
Okay, I have to see why. I have to see this. Why? Why did you give it a 6 out of 10? Please tell me why. I'm so curious on this. What is this? What are you sending me here? I'll take a look at that in a second. I'll take a look at that in a second.
Reviews director Tom Marks here with Travis Northup, our reviewer of Crimson Desert. Travis, how are you holding up after over 100 hours with this game?
I'm holding up. This is the gig, man. This is my Super Bowl. Whenever a big chunky RPG comes out, and I know I'm about to lose my life, so I'm getting close to the end there, and it feels good.
Let's talk about this review process for a little bit, why we don't have a final review right now, although you do have like a score in mind already at this point with 100 hours under your belt. The review process for this one was weird. It's a huge game. Like we said, it's over 100 hours, and there's tons more side content you could be doing beyond just getting to the end of the game. Not that you haven't been doing none of that or anything like that. We only got code for this about 2 weeks before the embargo, the review embargo, and the first 2 days of your playing, they went, oh, sorry, we have to push a patch that's going to completely wipe your save data. So we lost the first 2 days. You hit a game-breaking bug at one point that made you lose a ton of progress because you had to reload a save file from like 7 hours earlier or find a different save file. There was a day where like 100 gigabyte patch came through that was slow to download, and it was just like a very stop and start review process, even in the context of only having 2 weeks to play this huge RPG. You're really close to the end and then going to spend some time with the end game. For those who haven't seen much or don't know, if I've only seen trailers, have just bought into the hype, whatever, what actually is Crimson Desert? What does it play like? What type of RPG is it? And what do you think of it so far? What do you think of it after this 100 hours you spent with it?
Yeah, so Crimson Desert is a super ambitious open world RPG in a fantasy setting, the same setting as Black Desert Online. And if you haven't seen this game, it's very much kind of going for like the Witcher 3 vibes, where you're riding around on a horse and you're taking out bandits and you're helping the land, kind of knights and gallantry type stuff going on, but with a very weird kind of, Eastern fantasy vibes, where there's also just like strange creatures and lore and stuff like that. So it is a interesting fantasy world, and I would say the game, it's sort of like trying to be Witcher 3 with a little bit of Red Dead 2, because it has like these long rides on a horse where you're just like talking with a teammate. It has like that sort of thing, and then it's also got a little bit of like GTA open world like craziness, and also you have to tap A to run, which I thought was something that only GTA was allowed to do. Yeah, it's sort of going for all of those things, but I would say that it ends up landing closer to something like Dragon's Dogma, where it's not exactly of the same kind of caliber as like a Witcher 3, but it presents a compelling case for this type of bizarre, super ambitious RPG, even if it doesn't always achieve the stuff that it's trying to achieve.
Yeah, so let's dig into that, because I feel like it's been a little bit of a roller coaster when I've talked to you about this game during this review process, where there's, it's sort of a rocky start, and then you find a groove with it, and then it just gets laborious at parts, and there's all these bugs mixed in there. So like, what is it doing right? What is it doing wrong?
So yeah, the very beginning it's a little tough just because the controls on this game are crazy, like very they have you hold buttons and do combinations of joystick clicks, and if you're on keyboard you're hitting multiple keys at once to like access different tool sets. It's just a very convoluted control scheme.
We should note also that we only got access to, they only gave access to the PC version ahead of release. We're getting access to the console version at launch, and we'll take a look at it there too. But you've played on both, with both a gamepad and a mouse and keyboard at this point.
Correct. Yeah, and so the beginning, you're kind of figuring out a lot of stuff that the game doesn't do
this game
super
like an MMO.
Intuitively, and it's a little bit rocky. Then you figure it out, and you're sort of like, okay, I get it. Now I'm in an open world. Let's go see what's out there. And I would say that that's like the best part of the game is when you're just like exploring and you're finding like mini games, like, oh, there's arm wrestling. Oh, I can go fishing. There's this weird side quest where I'm helping somebody, and you're just kind of like exploring the world, and it's all very new to you. And that sort of is like the best part of any RPG, right? And I think this game, it has so many surprises.
No, there was a patch. There was a patch for this game even before the day one patch. So there is going to be a day one patch, but that's not even a one patch.
Elements in it that you're continually like, oh, okay, I kind of wasn't expecting that to be here. It has a little bit of Tears of the Kingdom as well, where you're like grabbing things and solving puzzles, and it's not to the point where you're like building contraptions and all that, but you do have like abilities, and also it does that thing in Tears of the Kingdom where there's a sky world and a floor world, and you're kind of going back and forth between the two and falling from the sky down back to the normal world. And so it does some stuff like that where you're just like discovering and having fun. And then you hit a moment where two things happen. One, you start going more into like the main story and the boss fights and some of the bigger war set pieces that happen. They have like war encounters, and you start to realize that this game is a little janky in more ways than one. So the boss fights in this game are real bad. They're not fun encounters. They are scaled way too aggressively. They take a really long time to do. You die a lot. And
well, you're supposed to combo your moves together to do the most maximized damage. I think they've shown so much about the combat with the bosses itself, of how you're supposed to combat against them. It's kind of like, hello.
It's one of those things where, I play a lot of Souls-like, so it's not like a skill thing. Like I was able to get through a lot of the encounters with like low level loot because I wasn't really focusing on leveling up my
sounds
loot
like a
for a
skill issue.
And also not a thing where you mind dying and having to try again. You're used to that.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. It's more that like the fights drag on for a really long time. They are way harder compared to the rest of the combat in the game that I would describe as like Dynasty Warrior-esque easy. It just goes like the complete other direction where you're just getting your butt kicked. 80% of the time in this game, I was unclear if I was doing things as intended or if I was brute forcing it. Like there was a puzzle once where I was supposed to get up on top of this thing and do this stuff, but I couldn't find an easy path up it. So I did that thing in climbing games where you find like a little alcove that you're not supposed to stand on, but then you do stand on it and it like gets your...
Man, dude, interesting to be hearing this or so. They'd be like, oh, there was no easy pathway to go up to this place or so, and it's just kind of like, but what's the context though?
Stamina back, and then you climb the rest of the way. And that's how I got up it. It like felt like I was cheating, and then it turned out, as far as I know, that's how you're supposed to get up the encounter. And so like I never knew if I was brute forcing combat encounters, if I was brute forcing puzzles, or if it was just designed for you to sort of like flub your way through it. And it kind of
basically, the game is not enough hand holding for me. I need the game for it to be more hand holding for me so I can understand. That's what it feels like. That's what I'm getting from this review so far.
It seems like you are supposed to flub your way through a lot of these encounters, and it makes it feel real bad.
That's distinct from...
Because look how he's playing in the fighting combat in this boss in generally.
Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild have a similar feeling where you're like, that am I supposed to be doing this right now sort of thing. But that game really rewards you for being creative. That's the feeling you get, is like, wow, I cannot believe that this weird thing I didn't think I was supposed to do worked. Whereas you're saying this doesn't really evoke that same rewarding feeling.
It feels like you either did it wrong or you broke something, and sometimes you are doing it wrong, by the way. Like was talking to Mitchell Saltzman and I have been talking about this game a lot, and like he missed an entire ability that you're supposed to get mandatorily in one of the early chapters. And if you don't get it, you just can't get it. And it's a huge part of the game. It's like a power you need to get through like lots of side quests and optional stuff. And you know, we asked we have access to the developers during this period, luckily. And so he said, hey, what's up with that? Am I screwed? Is my file broken? And they were like, oh no, just beat chapter 9 and you'll get there. And chapter 9 is 80 hours into the game. It's like miles and miles away. And so it was just one of those things where it was like, okay, I didn't have that encounter, but as you mentioned, I did run
Interesting.
into a game-breaking bug that completely shut me out of my save file. I could not progress in the main story. And because I was 7 hours behind, I had to choose, okay, am I going to start 7 hours over, or am I just going to borrow somebody else's save file who's around the same part as me and then continue playing through their file? And so
which is not ideal.
Oh no, not ideal at all. And it sucked because I really was attached to my character and my build, and it felt like I had like my own story. And yeah, that sort of stuff. Between like the jankiness, like there are bugs, like weird stuff happens, quests break, like stuff just happens in the game where you're just like, oh man, that sucks, it really hurts. And then also just like the moment-to-moment gameplay, particularly in the main storyline, where things just feel very poorly tuned and off kilter and out of nowhere, between the unintuitive puzzles and the boss fights that just feel arbitrarily difficult, where you're not sure if you're supposed to be getting good or leveling up your equipment, or if you're just supposed to eat 50 stacks of meat while you like chump your way through these. Like it seriously is just a very weird game from top to bottom. And so the longer I've played it, the more I've been kind of frustrated because I'm running into these issues and it's just sort of getting old. And one of those is that they just don't know when to end a combat sequence. Like the big war sequences, they go on for way too long, where you're like doing multiple steps. Like you have to carry around a flag and plant it while 80 guys are around you hitting you. And if one of them hits you, you drop the flag and then have to begin this long button mashing process to pick it up super slowly and move it another couple feet. Like stuff like that, where you're just like, oh my God, I've been at this for 4 hours and I'm still on the same step of the quest. And it's just like, please let me out of this. I would say the description is the high.
All I'm hearing is skill issue, Dio.
Highs are quite high because they've done the super ambitious thing and they've kind of thrown everything at the wall.
That's what I'm hearing.
But the lows are really low, and it kind of feels like this game tries a little too much. It bites off more than it can chew, and it ends up being kind of a jack of all trades and a master of none, particularly in kind of the shape of its story and combat encounters and the stuff you're doing out in the world. It just has a very uneven kind of feel to it.
So
But
you
he plays
are you're
games,
close
though.
to the end, like we said.
Yes.
What's kind of left to see? What's the lingering questions? End game, if there is that,
Pretty
that sort of
much.
stuff?
Pretty much, yeah. So I've tried to focus mostly on the story, which I don't really recommend. Like you kind of need to smell the roses in this game. It kind of forces you to be ready for the next part of the story. So I
And
do
it's not like
recommend,
you've done none of that, right?
No, I have. And in fact, the game basically forced me to at one point where it was like, okay, I'm very clearly not equipped for this, so I'm just going to go back and do some other stuff and build your settlement and do side quests and level up your gear and kind of figure out the stuff there. It really does want
Well,
you to.
you're supposed to level up your gear and all this other stuff before you go into the next part. Look at the top of his shelf. Dark Souls, Elden Ring, something about Rome, betrayal. That's how he's feeling right now about this game right now, so.
Do that, but once
He's
you
a
get to the end
pro.
game, some stuff unlock that I won't spoil here, but I'm looking forward to playing that for a couple hours. I really just want to finish the game because, as you know, part of IGN's style guide is
I don't think he did. Yeah, I don't think he did any of the side quests, or you're supposed to analyze, to learn the new moves, or because like so far the combat that I'm watching him specifically is just him just slashing with his sword and his shield. That's it.
finish games before we write reviews, and even though this
He's not doing
happens
any
to
of the
be
other
an enormous
moves in
RPG
general that
that
you're supposed to do to
probably
combo
nobody
with one
should try to
another.
finish in 2 weeks, like I'm gonna try to do that just so that I can speak from a completely informed perspective before I put a final score on it.
So you've got a little bit more to see. You've seen a ton already. If you had to score it now, what realm would you be in? Obviously, this isn't official final score. It could still shift if the end really saves it or botches it, or the end game is truly amazing, whatever. But what realm are you in right now?
Yeah, it can always change, and I try to keep an open mind during these things. But after 100 hours, you're gonna have some opinions about a game, and and I have a lot of them, right? And so I'm gonna be writing my review in progress later today, at the time of this recording. But my overall thoughts is like it tries so much. It's a technical marvel, which we haven't really talked about, but like it just looks absolutely stunning and performs surprisingly well.
A technical marvel outside of all of the game-breaking bugs.
Yes, the game-breaking bugs. I mean, technically, like frame rates and the way it just looks pretty throughout.
Performance-wise,
Performance-wise, it looks good. But like the stuff that it does bad, the
hours
lows are just really low.
You might not be allowed to show later on footage, but yeah, Man is still stick and sword and shield. I plan on just doing the WWE shit out on people. Well, I'm just like, you're supposed to like from the combat in general, you're supposed to be comboing these moves together to dish out the most damage. But this guy's just doing like whacking sword and shield all the time is what I've been noticing, at least when his combat, that how he's been playing it so far.
Enough for me to have trouble recommending this game, especially like if you're going and looking for Witcher 3, like, man, this is not it. Like, it's closer to Two Worlds 2, which, by the way, is a game that is really janky and uneven, but a game I also had a lot of fun with. And I've had fun with this game, but I probably am going to be looking at like the 6 range for this. I think 6? It falls short of me being able to like soundly recommend it with a 7 as like a good game. I would say it is an okay.
He called it an okay game. Right. Okay, can I see something real quick? Can I see something? Can I see something real quick? There is not a review for Marathon. No review for Marathon. There's not a single number here. Right. 6 out of 10, huh? That's where we're going with, huh? 6 out of 10, huh?
Game, like it does the stuff that it does super well, and the fact that it just has so much in it, it's hard to look away from that because they tried so hard with all the different things they put in the game. But you know, they threw everything at the wall, and now you're going to the buffet, and there's a lot of options here, but none of the food is particularly good at the buffet, you know what I mean? And that sort of is where I'm at with this one. It's a lot of stuff, but the amount of stuff that I would describe as like definitively good and that I've had like a great time doing is getting thinner and thinner the longer I play, man. It's been tough.
Well, Travis, thank you very much for telling us your thoughts so far. Obviously, like you said, 100 hours is a ton of time with it, so you already are very well informed in that regard. But I'm glad we're taking the time to really put it through its paces, finishes this review up, and we should have a final review hopefully in the next week, pretty soon. So keep an eye out for that with a final score. If you want some other recent huge fun games, check out our reviews of Monster Hunter Stories 3 and Resident Evil Requiem, and for everything else, stick with that, GM.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, why even make this or so? This like weird, like, it's more like an early impressions, because it is an impression, right, for 100 hours, but it's just kind of like, I'm like, why even bother doing this? Just wait until you like just do the review, play the entire game, you know, actually play it, and then tell me about it afterwards. I don't know, man. I'm just saying, compared to like what the other people have been, you know, giving other specific reviewers been giving praise about this game, but for some reason IGN seems to be giving this shit a 6 out of 10. I wasn't focused on leveling up my loot for a lot of this game. The boss fight scaled really aggressively. Crazy work. This guy rated it lower than his score for the Skull and Bones. Yikes, that's pretty crazy. Remember, they gave Veilguard a 9 out of 10. Remember that IGN placed Veilguard at the same level as Elden Ring. Wow, the same level as Elden Ring? I believe under the number I saw, it was not final. Of course, it's not final, but at the same time, still though, a 6 out of 10 though. I'm just kind of like, why even bother posting this? If your review coming out next week, just play the entire game and then make the review afterwards. I didn't level up my gear. Why does this game scale so aggressively? No Atreus telling you all of the solutions 5 seconds into the puzzle. Yeah, no thanks, IGN. I haven't forgotten your Concord, High Guard, and other reviews. Go play table tennis. Can't wait for the 6 on that. IGN gave it a 6. It must be a buy then. Final score will be a classic 7 IGN. Same guy rated High Guard, Avow, Conquered, and Skull and Bones higher. Okay, so that basically says a lot, to be frankly honest, if that's actually true. So yeah, I don't know about this one, Chief. So we'll see. We'll see. When I get my hands on it, we're gonna definitely be playing it 1000%. So, because I'm gonna enjoy this game very, very, very much. So.